What if I said I could show you incontrovertible evidence that there was a spaceship present at the crucifixion of Jesus? That's right. I said it, and I'm pretty sure I can prove it. I'm also pretty sure that if you missed the Not Your Normal Sunday show today, you missed a really good show. You missed a really interesting show. You missed a really fun show. And I'm pretty sure that you'll want to go ahead and take a look at that Not Your Normal Sunday show with myself and my good friend R. Wayne Steiger. You want to take a look at that. And you'll also want to be on hand tomorrow night when I and my other good friend, Jay Campbell, bring you the Last Stand, coming up tomorrow night at, I believe it's 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and we'll bring you more concrete information on that as the hour draws closer. But we're going to be talking tonight about Alien Jesus Part 2, the Crucifixion. In Alien Jesus Part 1, I showed you incontrovertible evidence that the birth of Jesus was a UFO, ET, alien extravaganza. And I'm going to show you now here incontrovertible evidence that the crucifixion of Christ was as well. Hello to Mary in Houston, Eric Duffy, Jason, Heather, Nancy, Lavera, Johan, Crystal, Jason, Carmen, Barry, Don, nice to see you, Teresa, John, Power Vapor Supply, Teresa Barnes, Cynthia, nice to see you. And since we're getting started here, go ahead and hit the like button. So that will help us all out. We've got 100 watching. Let's get that up to 100 likes. If we could do that, that would be awesome. And nice to see all the rest of you too, as people come streaming in. Stephanie, Teresa, Tracy Dyer, Jim 369, Davis Yates, Angie, Robin, Matt. Nice to see all of you. Nice to see every one of you. Mark Center Saint. Nice to see every one of you here tonight. And we're going to get right into this, as I think it's very powerful. I think it's going to be mind altering for a lot of you. Jeff, why are you doing this? Well, I'm doing it because you deserve to have the truth. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm here to give you information that will enable you to look at things you've never looked at before, to see things you've never seen before. But you can make decisions based upon objective biblical evidence and not based upon what you've always been told, what you've always been sold, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to read from Mark chapter 15. This is from my book, Final Message of the Last Apostle. This book was featured on Coast to Coast AM, one of the times I've been on. So we do have some credibility with this. And I just want to read you the biblical basis for what we're talking about. And then we'll move on from there. And we'll extrapolate and we'll expand. But no, everything that we talk about comes from this biblical scripture, Mark chapter 15. This is the King James Version, word for word. I'm not trying to pull anything over anyone's eyes. And I'll go in and break down what it means in English directly from the original Greek. So, King James Version, and when the 6th hour was come, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. That's about 3 till 6 in the afternoon. At the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani, which being interpreted is, my God, why have you forsaken me? And Jesus cried with a loud voice, gave up the ghost, and the veil of the temple was rent in two from the top to the bottom, ladies and gentlemen, straight from the King James Version. We're going to go into it in depth for you as we look at Alien Jesus, Part 2, the Crucifixion. So we looked at the Son, the birth of the Son of the Lord. We looked at the birth of Jesus, and now we're looking at his purported death by crucifixion. I think if you've listened to me long enough, you know that I don't really think he was crucified. Nag Hammadi says he wasn't crucified. But this is part of the narrative that was built to get you to believe the narrative that they want you, ladies and gentlemen, to believe. So, as I lost my place again, we're going to move into this. So now, what this really says was, when the 6th hour was come, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. Now, this is very, very important that you get this fact right from the beginning. It didn't get dark like it gets dark at night. And that is implicit within the language. About 6 o'clock, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, says the language, that's the 6th hour, a shadow fell upon the land. And you can go to Mark chapter 15, and you can check me out on BibleHub.com, and you will see that it is not that darkness fell, it's that a shadow fell. That understanding is crucial. It did not get dark at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It did not stay dark like it was dark at night for 3 hours. A shadow fell upon the land for 3 hours. And the literal rendering of the original language has been horribly mangled in the King James Version, in my opinion, intentionally so. Because an accurate rendering shows us something very disturbing, but to me, very amazing, very empowering, very, very exciting. So darkness did not fall. Nighttime did not come upon the land. The passage clearly states in the original Greek that a shadow fell upon the land. The sun didn't set. The sun didn't diminish in power. The fact of the matter is, according to the original language, ladies and gentlemen, that something blocked the sun and cast a shadow over a large portion of the city of Jerusalem, maybe the whole city, for about 3 hours. Think about that. Something appeared in the skies that was big enough to cast a shadow over a large part of the city of Jerusalem for about 3 hours. That's pretty amazing. And my question is, what's big enough to block out the sun? What's big enough to cause a shadow to fall over that large of an area? I don't know. I don't know what can be that big. I don't know what can be that large. But it had to be between the sun and the earth. And remember, it didn't get dark. It cast a shadow. I don't know what it was, but I know that Jesus saw it. I don't know what it was, but I know that Jesus saw it. How do I know that Jesus saw it? Well, remember the scriptures at the 9th hour. Remember what happened at the 9th hour? The sun was blocked and a shadow was cast from the 6th hour to the 9th hour. That means that something showed up at the 6th hour and cast a shadow, and something left at the 9th hour that was casting a shadow. How do I know that? Because Jesus cried out at the 9th hour. Right when this thing would have left, he cried out, Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani, which is being interpreted, my God, why have you forsaken me? Eloi, Eloi reminds you of Elohim, Elohim, which reminds you of the podcast excellence that we put on last week about, are the Elohim all rat bastards? This was obviously a rat bastard involved in a deception. Is this another clue that the Elohim are rat bastards? We don't want to get into that. He cries out at the 9th hour. Why did he cry out? And why did he cry out at the 9th hour? Why not at the 8th hour? Why not at the 7th hour? Why not at the 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd hours? What happened at the 9th hour? Well, we know from the text that at the 9th hour, the shadow lifted. Why did the shadow lift? The shadow lifted because whatever it was that was causing the shadow departed. And it was the exit of the shadow-causing object that obviously upset Jesus so much that he would cry out, "Why have you forsaken me? Why have you forsaken me?" And do you know what the literal Greek to English rendering of "why have you forsaken me" is? The literal Greek to English rendering of "why have you forsaken me" is, "Why have you abandoned me and left me here?" Think about it. Jesus was left behind. When the shadow casting object left, Jesus cries out, "Yo, dude, why are you leaving me behind?" A couple things are clear. Number one, something big was causing a shadow. Number two, that thing left. Number three, Jesus saw it leave. And number four, Jesus was like, "Why are you leaving me here? Why have you abandoned me? Why have you left me here?" Pretty clear, Jesus expected to be on that object, or he expected that object to take him away. He was shocked. He was stunned. He was upset when the object left and he was left behind. "Why have you abandoned me and left me here?" he says, looking up at this object that was causing a shadow to fall upon the greater part, or at least a great part, of the city of Jerusalem. What kind of object would one expect to be taken away in? What kind of object that could take a person away would be large enough to cast a shadow over at least a large portion of the city of Jerusalem? Well, let's look at the text and let's make sure, before we draw any final conclusions. And the rest of this passage says that, "Behold, the veil of the temple was rent in two from the top to the bottom. The earth did quake, the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose." Now, you really have three events taken here. You've got the veil of the temple tearing, you've got an earthquake, and you've got graves being opened. And remember, these all happened at the 9th hour. The earth did quake and the rocks rent. If you look at that with an objective empirical mind, it's a rather straightforward description of a seismic event. Something happened that caused an earthquake that caused rocks to break. Pretty simple. What's striking to me is it happens at the same time that this thing that was blocking the sun leaves, and it happens as Jesus sees it leave and says, "Hey, why am I not on board?" The seismic event occurs at the same exact time that whatever was blocking out the sun departed, leaving the upset Jesus behind. So it's pretty obvious to me that the force exerted by that object leaving was great enough to cause a localized earthquake. Was it some type of a gravitational force that this thing was powered by? Was it great exhaust of this thing being powered by? Was it a frequency, a gravitational type of device that was powering this device? Whatever it was, it caused a localized earthquake. And part of that localized earthquake was causing the veil of the temple to be torn in two. And remember, it was torn in two from top to bottom. This is very, very significant that it was torn in two from top to bottom. Let me explain to you why. In order for that thing to be torn in two from top to bottom, you had to have, here's the foundation of the temple. And think of this curtain hanging in a perfect cube, by the way. In order for it to be torn in two, it's got to tear from top to bottom, right? From top to bottom. So this is a curtain, and it's going to be torn like this from top to bottom. It's going to be torn from top to bottom. Then something has to happen to pull one side down so it'll rip and tear. And the only way that one side gets pulled down and rips and tears is if the foundation of one side of it drops out. The foundation of one side of it drops out, so it rips it and it tears it. And this thing was as thick as a man's hand, this curtain that surrounded the Holy of Holies. It was as thick as a man's hand. So in order for that force, for that thing that thick to have been torn in two, you had to have the foundations of the temple right under the Holy of Holies, one side of it drop out, causing that ripping and that tearing. That's wholly consistent with a localized seismic event. If one of the sides of that foundation drops out, the thing tears right in two. So we're very, very consistent. We're very, very logical. We're very, very linear. We're very, very within not only the text, but within what we would expect to happen. So this would result, and would only result, from a shift in the foundation, exactly what we would have expected to happen during an earthquake. And then don't forget, additional evidence of an earthquake is found in the statement that the rocks and graves were broken up. So when we put text with text, and when we don't say, oh, I don't believe that because my pastor didn't teach me, I don't believe that because my priest didn't teach me, I don't believe that because my mama believes, I don't believe that because my grandmammy believes, I don't believe that because my granddaddy's, grandpappy's, uncle's brother didn't teach me that way. If we just stay with the text, here's what we have, ladies and gentlemen. We have, let me take a drink of tea while you wrap your mind around that. That's good stuff. Here's what we have. We have Jesus on the cross, purportedly. Was that sacrilegious? But anyway, he's hanging there. And something shows up and blocks out the sun, right? Jesus is hanging there, and something shows up and blocks out the sun. So he's hanging there and something shows up and blocks out the sun. And it blocks out the sun and causes a shade for 3 hours. Then whatever it is withdraws. When Jesus sees it going, he gets upset and cries out, "Why are you leaving me behind?" And the withdrawal of such an object set off a localized earthquake strong enough to shift the foundations of the temple, break stone, and dislodge many grave doors. Now, if it was large enough to cast a shadow over the city of Jerusalem, if it was staying aloft under its own power, if it was clearly visible, if Jesus expected him to be taken away in it and was really upset when it didn't, if its energy put off, if its exit put off enough energy to cause an earthquake, what would have blocked out the sun and caused the earthquake at the crucifixion? As you think of that, let me pull up a picture that might give you an idea of what it possibly could have been. We're talking about something that could do all of those things. And I'm wondering if it might have looked a little something like some of these pictures. Could it have been UFO mothership? Big enough to block out the sun? Yeah. Something that Jesus could look up in the sky and see? Yeah. Something that he could see departing? Something that he would expect to be taken away on? And as I learned from George Norrie when I was on Coast to Coast AM, one of the first times, I don't know, one of the middle times anyway, one of the times is he said, George being a former Catholic and maybe still a Catholic, he said that the message of Fatima says that on the crucifixion day, the sun came down and shone upon the earth. It like came close to the ground in Jerusalem. Now we both know that the sun itself, the planetary object, did not come down to earth. But if a mothership or spaceship, like we just showed you, came down very close to earth and the sunlight reflected off of it, wouldn't it be very easy for a first century person to say, oh, the sun came down? And if it did come down that close, doesn't that explain how the seismic events could have occurred? Because that craft came that close. Ladies and gentlemen, when you step outside your religious box, when you step outside your religious paradigm, and you look objectively at the evidence of what happened that day on the cross, on a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, and above it stood a spaceship. That's not how the song goes, but that's how the event went, if it did, in fact, take place. Any objective modern mind reading this text with the benefit of a 21st century perspective would have to admit that it was a great craft, a spaceship that blocked out the sun on the crucifixion, and Jesus was pissed that it left without him. Unless you insist on using the mindset of a first century individual, think about it, these people, the rich people, were riding on camels or donkeys down dusty roads. And here you are, some of you driving down the road in a smart car, listening to this on a smartphone with a stupid brain that refuses to step out of first century imagery and first century mindset into 21st century mindset. You are no smarter than the guy riding a stinky camel down a dusty road if you can't look at this through 21st century eyes. You're a coward, you're a fraud, you're a phony, and you need to just zip your lip and admit that you don't want to learn, that you're just happy with the status quo. Because there's no way you can look at this evidence objectively with 20 centuries, 21 centuries of learning and discovery under your belt and say, oh, I don't believe any of this. It happened just the way they said it happened. It did happen just the way they said it happened. And the literal rendering of Greek English shows that there was a spaceship at the crucifixion of Jesus, just like there was a spaceship at the birth of Jesus. But wait, there's more, because in part 3, I'm going to show you that there was a spaceship at the so-called resurrection of Jesus. And wait, there's more. We'll show you that there's a spaceship at the heart of his supposed second coming as well. I know it's pretty hard to understand. I know it's pretty hard to accept. And I know it's kind of some mind-blowing material that only took me 24 minutes and 9 seconds to completely blow up your paradigm. Wow. Let's see if I got excoriated in the chat room. Let's see. So nice to see so many people out on a Sunday night. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel. I don't see anything particularly. I don't see any particular noisome pestilence. Why aren't you beaming me up? That's funny. Why are you leaving without me? So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Part 2 of Alien Jesus, arguably more powerful than part 1 of Alien Jesus. And we still got at least 2 parts coming up. Maybe seeing a UFO was a rip in the veil. I don't know. All I know is it didn't happen the way we've been told that it happens. And it looks like some people are having trouble staying on target. That's all right, or on subject. Just take them out. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The truth is stranger than fiction and more bizarre than the Bible. According to William Shatner, science and fiction are the same. I've heard him say that. Ancient aliens, literally, says Mark Center Saint. Wow. Wow. See, right? You couldn't be more wrong. You see what I did with that? See, right? You couldn't be any more wrong. See, right says, you're simply promoting the Project Bluebeam NWO alien false invasion that's on the way. See, right? You couldn't be any more wrong, because what we're doing is the opposite of what you say I'm doing. I'm not promoting the Project Bluebeam NWO alien false flag invasion. I am not promoting it. I'm not promoting it. What I'm doing is promoting knowledge. I'm promoting knowledge, not promoting anything. I'm promoting knowledge that will allow people to be forewarned. And if you remember, being forewarned is forearmed. If enough people know about the truth of what's really happened, then they won't be able to sell. They won't be able to promote a Project Bluebeam NWO alien false flag invasion. They won't be able to do it. I'm preventing their promoting. See, right. There you go. Excellent stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Thought-provoking stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And we're doing the best we can to do the best that we can. This is going to conclude our day of podcast excellence. Now we do have, looks like 239 people currently in the chat room. My thanks to all 239 of you. I appreciate you very, very much. 241, and we have 101 that have hit the like button. I'd appreciate it if you would hit the like button if you're of the 100 plus that have not done it yet. Mark Center Saint says, but wait, no more. There is more coming, but we will do it tomorrow. Part 3 of Alien Jesus, the Resurrection. Ladies and gentlemen, this is New Cosmic Knowledge. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, Christian Whistleblower, bringing you information that we hope is going to help you to keep asking questions and to keep questioning answers. I really want you to guide your own spirit. I really want you to master your own ascension. I'm here to remind you that we are the last generation of real humans. Let's unindoctrinate ourselves. And let's get busy.